Today, we're going to talk about 7 deadly sins that kill membership plans. We're going to start off with number one, which to me is one of the biggest problems. And it's the fact that offices are farming PPO patients. What do I mean by that? If you think about a caveman, you think about how he gets his food. He's a hunter. He chases after the herd. He finds a big, huge meal to eat. Maybe it's a big woolly mammoth. He clubs it over the head. Once he's killed that big, huge animal, he's going to process it. And he's got a lot of food to eat. So he's really happy. The problem is when he's finished doing that, he's got to chase the herd. He's got to find another animal. He's got to make another kill. If the herd's moved, he's got to pick up and move. And it gets kind of exhausting. This is what we see a lot with cash pay patients, patients that don't have insurance. It's a lot of hunting. You're spending money on Google AdWords, direct mail, whatever you're trying to do to get those patients into your chair. You do the treatment, and then you have a big case, which is really nice. You don't write any off. You don't share any with the insurance company. The challenge is once you've consumed that meal, you've got to start over again. You've got to go back, and you've got to keep hunting. And so it gets kind of exhausting. I used to do marketing for a lot of offices for years and years. And what we found was they were spending money with us month after month, year after year, getting new patients, but it never really changed. They kept spending money with us. I call it kind of the marketing cocaine, and they never really got out of this hunt. So if you look at this caveman over here, what was the greatest invention for him? And I've heard some creative ones, will, fire, a bow, different things to help him hunt better. My favorite is probably the refrigerator, so he could store food. But in this scenario, I like to say his greatest invention was the fence. And the reason why is he's able to build a fence around his herd, so he had natural predictive harvest. So in your practice, your hygiene department is your farm. Patients that come in hygiene on a regular basis, eventually their teeth break down. So we all know this as we eat food, and even if we do our best brushing, flossing, whatever else, eventually we need treatment. And so if your farm or your hygiene department is really high with PPO patients, you're going to be doing natural predictive treatment on insurance patients. If you don't have patients without insurance coming in regularly for hygiene, you're never going to really change your practice. So we look at offices all the time. Hey, I'm too insurance dependent. And then when we look at the numbers, we see that, hey, you don't really have your uninsured coming in at all. And then it's, well, I don't want to give them any deal or discount, these cash pay patients. And they get really stuck in this insurance quagmire. We did a big study. We looked at a whole bunch of offices. And what we looked at is, and most of these were PPO offices, they had anywhere from 10 to 30% of their patients on record didn't have dental insurance. And so what we looked at in the last 18 months, how many of these offices recare visits were from uninsured patients versus the recare, the hygiene, how many of them were patients that had insurance? And it was pretty crazy. Only about 7% of the patients, the hygiene appointments in the last 18 months across these offices, only about 7% of them didn't have dental insurance versus, of course, 93% had dental insurance. And so if you look at this stat, and it's insurance patients are pre-appointing, they're coming back on a regular basis, that's who's coming through the practice. Guess what the office is doing? They're farming, so to speak. Their farm is full of PPO patients. That's the natural predictive harvest. So they're spending as much money and time as they can marketing to try to get those fee-for-service cash pay patients in. Meanwhile, though, they're running this farm like crazy for the PPO patients. So that's what we need to change, because you're farming those PPO patients. So as a solution, there's a couple things you can do. One is you've got to get uninsured patients in for hygiene. Don't ignore that. Look at your pre-appointment rate. See how often they're coming in. Obviously, we help with membership plans. Membership plans are designed to get people back in for hygiene. Second thing you need to do is create capacity in hygiene if needed. A lot of times when we talk to offices, office managers, doctors, you're so far out on hygiene, you're 6, 8, 12 months out, to see new people, you can't even fit uninsured people in. So if you have a farm and your entire acreage is corn, and you say, you know what, I want to have some peaches, or I want to have some beets or something else, you either got to go buy more land and plant some peach trees, or you've got to cut down some of that corn. So you need to either drop insurances if you don't have capacity, or you need to add more hygiene appointments. You got to figure out what's best for you. But if you don't have room for those uninsured patients to schedule regularly, they're not going to come back. And then stop complaining about reimbursement rates and do something proactive. I hear so much complaining insurance should pay us more. The insurance reimbursement doesn't even cover our cleaning. Our hygienist is too expensive. It's a lot of complaining, but it's like, stop complaining. Let's actually design a membership plan that's going to solve these problems and be proactive about it so you can change this. And that starts by creating a good predictive model for these uninsured patients to come back in. So that's the solution number one. I'll share some other ones coming down the road.